Friends, this is okay. Yes, friends. Uh, this is the second sequel, the series number 2 on GST important judgment. Just going to handle, and we have collected around 100 important judgments on the basis of which you can build your practice, and you can have some say in the matter. Sometimes simply writing a letter, sometimes writing an email, sometimes chasing the matter. It becomes so easy and comfortable, so that we can do something on the basis of this thing. So I have already covered up to 147 taxman judgment, which is going to conclude later on. So I'll be speaking for 1 hour. Whatever left under judgment, I'll take care later on. But this series will continue, and we will put it on a blog with all the details available with you in the years to come. Okay. With this, I'm going ahead. I and Nirav Shah. Nirav Shah is a company secretary. He is also preparing the papers, and sometimes he would take the lectures. Because of his pre-occupancy, I'm taking a lecture right now. This is today's lecture. Instead of Nirav Shah, I've come, okay, because he's preoccupied somewhere else. This is going to be the same on 10th. Whatever lecture, whatever cases which is not covered, I'll cover on that. This would be the 10th. This thing, our recent PPT, which is available in blog, is analysis of union budget interim. We have covered each and every aspect of the budget, but there is no provision, there is no major changes in IT and GST. But whatever the comparison which government has said, qua BJP government, before government, how government is planning to take next 10 years. On the basis of that, sometimes you would be able to visualize where economy is growing. This would help you even buying the shares also. Which company share you should buy, which company share you should transform into a different company. How the world is going, how India is going, how the geopolitical background, how the next election is going to come, the way they have projected, how they have garnered all aspects of the politics in the budget, which also you can visualize. It's a wonderful budget. I have considered each and every aspect in detail. 100 judgment out of 100 judgment, one series would be available in the management. 43B, MSME issues which are going to be very critical when you file a return for 31st March 2024. It does not apply to, but it applies to every individual also. So that also you need to take care. Time management, article gives it any advantage. There are many presentation available blog. You can go to that. We are running an ISACA chapter Ahmedabad. I am also one of the founder president. If anyone to do ISACA or any other courses, you can always come. I'm ready to guide you for that. Now, these are the judgment I've already covered. Now I'm going to 147 taxman. 147 taxman. From where I have to left, yes, this is already covered. Okay, now I am going for that. If somebody left, I'll cover later on. Radiant Enterprise in the aluminum. I'm coming from this 147. 147 taxman. I should have prepared this. Whether I've covered D. Murli Mohan, I've covered or not, I don't know. Okay, let me go from here. Premier I've already covered. Okay. Varun beverage I've covered or not. Varun beverage I might have covered. Okay. Now this is the from we are starting again. If somebody left, I will take care of later on. This is the series which I've continued. Now you need to I've done this judgment summary plus I'm going to give you the case plus the section which are being used there would be available to you so that you can understand the whole context on which the law is developed. Just filing a return 10099 RCM, CCM, block credit, proportionate refund. This is beyond that. You will be able to understand when you actually file a return and when you just apply the provision at appropriate level. This judgment would have an overall view of the Act, GST Act. With this context, I'm going 151 Taxman, 36 Madras. TVL Metal Corporation, the fact pending, challenge summons in search and seizure case. On the basis of that, they have been receiving summons from state and central authority, and do not have power. What they are saying, when state has issued, central doesn't have a power. So what is that is a contention of the BBs, they have gone to High Court. That even after reply to summons, there was no communication between the department regarding outcome of petitioner, and there is always a threat of personal hearing. That is what he said. I have appeared before summons. I have submitted the paper, but still I have a fear. कि कल notice आएगी, परसों आएगी. So that is worried. So what government says, what the department, what the High Court says, even after summons, petitioner should participate in the inquiry before state GST authority to substantiate that he could not be prosecuted both central and state. What High Court says, you just appear with both the authority and ask them, inform them you cannot prosecute under both the procedures, both the provision, state and central both. State GST could not initiate the action against the petitioner in respect of subject matter which central has taken authority. Writ petition is done prematurely. And they have directed respondent department was directed to give one opportunity petitioner to participate for personal hearing. So this section is section 6 read with section 70 of CGST and TGST. Para 5 in favor of the SSC. Okay. Margin fabric was Commission of Central Tax. Proof of receipt of goods. Vehicle details. Commissioner had reviewed the order. Original sanctioning refund and directed to prefer an appeal on the ground of the two invoices among the several invoices in respect of which refund was sought were not reflected in the Vahan portal. However, the appellate authority have found state finding to be incorrect and two vehicles in question were registered in Vahan. So there was an order. In order, they have said that two invoices on which the vehicle was registered is not on e-Vahan portal. Hence, appellate authority go and check it and they found that they both are available. Notwithstanding the appellate authority of appellant, a revenue department has taken a stand that they want to check all 124 invoices and they don't want to issue the refund on the ground that the checking of the same is pending and the law or rule does not provide that at the time of invoice, the vehicle number and e-invoices, whether it is available on e-portal should be submitted. But still, department has chosen to prepare an appeal and they have not issued the refund. High Court says, held that there is no provision requiring SSA to file details of all vehicles and also establish their registration on e-Vahan portal. Petition disclosed necessary data in the return required for claiming refund and thus condition prescribed under section 16 is satisfied. Thus, the review order to be filed against the order of authority itself was found in an erroneous finding. Appellate authority did not find any flow in details furnished by the petitioner. Having accepted the details of invoices, appellate was required to reject the revenues outrightly impung order. But our authority did not reject the order. But as they say that they are preferring an appeal, the refund should not be protected. This judgment is next page. Okay. So this refers section 50, section 54, 16, 17 of CGST Act. Delhi, we don't consider Rule 89 of CGST needs to be read. When you go to law, any act, rules, notification, judgment comes last. When you follow the law, what law says? The refund is you did not prefer his preferred authority was required to reject the but he has not rejected, he has accepted. The impact order of apparatus was set aside. Why set aside? Because everything details which he was asked, he has provided. Now you cannot ask them to you cannot reject the order because whatever you ask for is been given, margin fabrics. So let me explain you again for the purpose of clarity. Proof of receipt input ITC was reversed, ITC was not given. Why? There was a proof of receipt from vehicle details were submitted. Commissioner reviewed the order in appeal with sanctioning the refund. And director preferred an appeal on the ground that two investigations the appeal was filed. However, appraisal found that said finding to be incorrect and two questions were registered, notwithstanding that appellant allowed the revenue scale. Why High Court has rejected the quashed the order of appellate authority? He has submitted what is supposed to file, and he has filed. Now, appellate authority cannot deny the refund which is supposed to get it by rejecting the appeal. Clear? Usually, forest products versus state of Assam. Vehicle cannot be detained due to lack of road permit. If the petitioner is in possession of e-way invoice and other requirements, road permit should not be insisted on releasing of vehicle. Vehicle was detained, ground that there was no road permit was there. This was a transition provision, and in Assam they have said that if this is there, you further required a road permit, which was not there. Hence, the vehicle was detained. High Court says, no, you cannot detain the vehicle on the ground of no road permit. So many times we are stuck by we should go to the act, rules of state and this thing and notification. Once you go it, matters are many times very simple and you can get the judgment in your favor. (148) Taxman 431. Radha Fragrance versus Union of India. Tax and penalty were rightly imposed when huge amount of pan masala and tobacco were transported grossly underwhelming without downloading the mandatory e-way bill. Tax and penalty were rightly imposed when huge amount of pan masala and tobacco were transported grossly underwhelming without downloading the mandatory bill. What they were doing, they were undervaluing the goods, okay, and the value of the goods by giving a hefty discount. 52% discount. Okay. So that the e-way bill need not be generated because the value is there. What they were further doing, they were giving the three different bills. Okay. Now, in one of the bills, the GST number was provided was not doing the business which is supposed to do. He was not in the business of this thing. He was a contractor, works contractor, and the name was there. This e-way bill was they were giving all the details on an invoice in order to avoid the e-way bill requirement. Hence, court says you cannot do that. Action of the state authority for detaining goods and imposing the penalty is proper. Now I am going into the facts. Tax and penalty were rightly imposed when huge amount of pan masala and tobacco were transported grossly undervalued the goods without counting the mandatory factory. Detention of goods and conveyance, e-way bill and invoice. Undervaluation of 30 cartons of each pan masala were sent to 2 dealers, while 60 cartons of huge amount of pan masala and tobacco were transported grossly undervalued without downloading the mandatory bill. In grave of technicality, no benefit could be given to a dealer who intentionally undervalues his goods to escape the eyes of law. Further, one of the consignee was not in the business of, but doing the business of works and contract. Thus, action of the law detaining the goods and imposing penalty need not be interfered. When you want to evade the law and you manipulate by giving discount and giving some wrong GST number who are not into the business is likely to be punished. And the detention was proper. 157 text 1433 Amit Kaushik was the state of Haryana. This is the case you need to understand. Why sometimes there is a basic flow in the law which allow you to go ahead very easily and effortlessly. This is a case in which the petition has filed an instant case against under section 439 of CRPC, a prayer to grant regular bail. There is a bail was under via 405 dated 24/10/2020. In day out, we are coming across the law by which जो सिक्योरिटी वीडियो भी बंद करे वीडियो भी बंद करे देना पर स्क्रीन कर क्या है तो मैंने खबर नहीं sorry we are sorry for interruption for a while. We're back to our this thing. 1 minute. Where I was there, I don't know. Let me go back and check it out. Chotulal. 1 second. I'm back to this thing. Yes, I will go back. एक second, let me give you 1 minute. Give me 1 minute to where we started. I forget it. It was we were in dim only was over. Premier Auto was over. Varun Beverage was over. Varun Beverage was over. Tea Metal was over. Margin Fabrics was over. The fragrance. Mid coaching. We were in mid coaching. Okay. Oh, let us go back now. Okay. So day in, day out, when you go to this type of case, petition was filed, the instead 439 PCI. Sometimes this is a case by which you will be able to understand. Sometimes those who are in jail may not be in jail because if you read into section, and because of that you would have a lot of clarity. In this case, FIR was filed against Amit Kaushik under section 201 120B of IPC with 1420, 467, 468, 471 at the police station of Faridabad. What is the fact of the case? Fact of the case is Rajesh Kumar Yadav, the investigation officer, has raided AS Enterprise at Faridabad having GST number this utilizing bogus input credit with through for document. On physical verification of the said firm, the said firm had not done any business at the address provided in the registration. Firm was floated on paper only. During investigation, it was found that the above said firm was registered through proprietor having PAN number this, mobile, Aadhaar, resident, and this. It was found that firm was not only non-existent, but also claimed ITC from other fake firms. The firm had not any physical transaction of goods. The goods were neither received nor supplied. In actually, but only paper transactions were done, which is in contravention of section 132(1)(b) and C and GST of Haryana Act 2007. Thus, the firm was created a loss of rupees 2.5 crore to the government exchequer. Therefore, it is very certain that Ashok, proprietor of AS Enterprise, had fraudulently registered the firm on GST solely for the purpose of defrauding the government by utilizing ITC credit with malified intention of paying tax. The petitioner, what is the contents of the petitioner now? This FIR was done on 24/10/2020. He was arrested illegally after 2 years of the incident happened. That is on 29th September 2022. No assessment order has been passed till date and no penalty has been verified. Since 2 years, nothing has been done. FIR was done, arrested on 29th September. However, the challan was filed during the court. How much taxable tax evasion was produced at the time of court. Hence, the petition was not required to be arrested at the provision of containing CGST, which is referred. What CGST say, if fraud is below 2 crore, he is not liable to it. 2 crore to 5 crore, there is a cognizable, non-cognizable, bailable, non-bailable. These are the provisions which is applicable, which is shown in the CGST Act only. Still further, the firm is owned by Ashok, and the petitioner was not remotely connected with the main accused. Okay. So Amit Kaushik was arrested, but he is not anywhere related to Ashok. High Court says petitioner is there for more than 1 year. The trial may take more time. The bail is the right of petitioner. For whether FIR is valid or not, let the trial court decide. Court says whether FIR is valid or not is not my problem. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of the case. Please refer 69. If you read section 69 and 132, I was supposed to produce, but the person who was working with me says, sir, if we produce all this section here, your presentation becomes too lengthy. So what I'm going to do, I will make this presentation here not as lengthy as, but when it comes to a paper book, it will contain everything which you are supposed to have. Okay. So that once you go to the judgment, you'll be able to conclude so many things. Thus, many misnomer about the law will make it clear by when you read 69 and 132. So why I've added this case, because it is a very practical. Many times the certain laws excuse or accrue that they cannot arrest you also. In Rohit Enterprise versus Commissioner of State of GBC, the petitioner is a proprietary firm engaged in the business of fabrication. It is registered in CGST and GST, Maharashtra GST. The certificate number was this. He was taken in 20th July 2018. The petition contains the undergone angioplasty. What is because of corona and angioplasty, because of financial losses, he could not file the return. It is from August 2021. He could not file the return. Section 29(2) of the GST Act enables the proper officer to cancel the registration if the person did not file return consecutively 3 times. He has not filed the return since August, consecutively 3 times. The state officer, Aurangabad, issued a show-cause notice dated 20th February 2022, calling upon the petitioner to furnish his expression within a period of 7 working days. The notice stipulated that registration of the petitioner stood suspended. The petitioner replied by a so-called notice dated 3rd March, citing the reason for financial crisis. He requested the revocation of notice. However, the STO said on 43 March 2000 cancelled the registration with effect from the date where he has not filed the return. The petitioner requested revocation of cancellation certificate. In response, the state officer issued a so-called notice for rejection of the application. The petitioner was called upon to furnish the return reply within 7 days, supporting the document, bank statement, etc. The matter was taken up hearing on 25th April. Finally, the state officer rejected the revoke application by dated 17th May. So his registration is cancelled. The petition filed a first appeal. He goes to say appeal. Petition filed appeal in 107 of the MGS Act. It was registered an appeal dated this. The commission appeal rejected that on the ground of he has not filed an appeal within the prescribed time under 107, 1074. The matter he chose to go to High Court. High Court says petition is allowed. Further, he has given the ground why it should be allowed. The order, what is then? The order dated 20th February 20, suspending GST, order cancelling GST was passed by the GST, and the order that the Deputy Commissioner are quashed and set aside. Both the order is set aside. He hold and declared that registration in the name of petitioner is valid from 28th February 2022 onwards, subject to the condition. He said, okay, his registration is valid right now. Only certain condition he has to fulfill, like he has to file the return, deposit entire pending dues, including interest, penalty, late fees, as per Rule 23(1) MS. The rule is made absolute in this term. Okay. He said, allow the what further? What is the conclusion? Why is not a what is the stand taken by High Court? Since it is merely a matter of cancellation of registration, question of limitation should not bother us. Since it cannot be said that any right has accrued to state which would rather be adversely affect the cancellation. But I said any cancellation, there cannot be a time limit. He can apply any time. Applying the aforesaid guidelines to the fact of the present case, we find that petitioner, who is a sufferer of unique circumstances, cancelling the resulting from the pandemic and his health barrier, would be put to great hardship for want of GST registration. The petitioner, who is a small-scale entrepreneur, cannot carry on production activity in absence of GST registration. Resultantly, his right to livelihood would be affected. What law says? If you don't allow this thing, how he can live GST? He needs to live. For that, GST registration is required. Cancellation doesn't affect any revenue to the government. Since the statutory appeal suffered a dismissal of technical ground, we cannot allow situation to continue. We find, in fact, the circumstances of this case, it would be appropriate exercise to our jurisdiction. Court has a jurisdiction under Article 226 to take certain matter. There are 4 provisions under Article 6, which they can take the case, they take a course on their own. The constitutional right of the High Court. Even looking to the objective of the provision of GST, it is not in the interest of the government to curtail the right of entrepreneur like petitioner. The petitioner must be allowed to continue the business and to continue to contribute to the state's revenue. So what is the law says? What is the conclusion of this thing? Article 226 permit even for the pace of cancellation is the right, revocation of a cancellation is the right, but he has to pay the interest penalty and due whatever is there. And nobody would affect that because it's a question of livelihood of a person. This 147 taxman from 505. Now I'm into section judgment of 147 taxman 535 of SK Pharma. GST number was applied under composition of March 20, he got an export order. What has happened? He was under composition scheme. In March, he got an export order. Once you have an export order or you leave it expire, your composition scheme would expire. And once it is expired, you have to apply to the GST authority within 7 days. 8/4/2000, he applied for retrospective cancel while filing the return for the month of March. When he was used to go for filing return of the month of March, he asked for the cancellation from the month of, like there is a 7-day application, but he applied little bit late. On 12th May 2000, SSC raised a grievance with GST help desk for filing return. On 6/6/2000, June, he received a request for retrospective compensation is not possible on portal. What says portal does not allow retrospective composition scheme to be cancelled. On 16 June, SSC applied for jurisdiction of withdrawal of composition scheme and allowing the return on the March 22. AO issued a notice 27. AO cited technical impossibility. Okay. And cancellation for allowing retrospective cancellation. The SSC filed a petition with the High Court for remedial action for cancellation of composition with retrospective. For your kind producer, Rule 6 of the CGST has been produced. The option exercised by registered person to pay tax under Section 10 shall remain valid so long as he satisfies the condition of the same section. His condition means he is issued the bill quoting the GST number. In this case, he is going under LUT. So his condition under Section 10(1) is expired. The person referred to subrule 1 shall be liable to pay tax under subsection 1 of the section to the form the day he ceases to satisfy the condition of Section 10 or previously this chapter, and shall issue a tax invoice for every taxable supply made thereafter. He shall be liable to file also. He shall also liable to file intimation of withdrawal scheme in form GST CMP4 within 7 days from the date of occurrence of event. In this case, as soon as he issued a LUT, he should apply. He should apply within 4 to 7 days. But he applied little bit late. Taxpayer cannot be denied cancellation for registration under the composition with retrospective effect, merely on the ground that portal does not have the provision. Department should fix the glitches. It cannot be glitch. There is a provision that these provisions are kept to block certain facility. So that, but now this can be removed so easily. It's a program. It's a facility. Department should fix the glitches in GST and allow such cancellation. Section, what are they saying? Section 12, Rule 6. If you go into it, it would make clear what is the provision, which I already discussed. So GST is comparatively very easy once you got it. We are going into 148 taxman 36 Sri Ganesh Full Asset Training versus Superintendent Office of Commissioner. 148 taxman com.136 Sri Ganesh Molasa Trading Company versus Superintendent of Office of Commissioner. DRC3 is filed for ITC reversal from laptop of a partner. In the present, DRC3 is filed for ITC reversal from laptop partner with OTP on his son's mobile. In reverse at the midnight of 1 during the search, violating the rule provided by Gujarat High Court in the case of Bomi Associate versus Union of India, where the guidelines are as under. The copy of judgment of Bomi and Sri Ganesh policies may be used to search and seizure in many cases. But what Bomi Associate says? Judge said categorically, and this has been circulated and accepted by the department also. No recovery in any mode by check, cash, e-payment, or adjustment of input tax credit should be made at the time of search or inspection proceeding under Section 67 of CGST Act or SCST Act under any circumstances. Even if the SEC comes forward to make a voluntary payment by filing DRC 3, the SEC should be asked to advise that such form may be filed on the next day after the end of the search proceeding is over and after the officers of the visiting team have left the premises of the SEC. The facility for filing complaint or grievances after the end of the search proceeding should be made available to the SSE. If the SSE was supposed to make in any mode during the pendency of the proceeding, if complaint is filed with the SSE and officer is found to have been acted in defiance of the aforesaid direction, then strict disciplinary action would be initiated against the concerned officer. This is a landmark judgment made by Bhumi Associate. Learned Judge Karya Saab has well defined the provision. This provision needs to be followed in the years to come. So, clear? Yes, no? Now I am going to read Brij Mohan Manga. Brij Mohan Bangla versus Union of India. A refund withholding the order. A refund for the petitioner or from May 19 to December 10 was payable to the as per the order passed by the first April of 20. However, the department withheld the implementation of appellate on the ground that the department has chosen to file an appeal against the order. What court says, Delhi court says, it was not open to the response department to ignore the order passed by the A, merely on the ground that it was decided but would file an appeal. It would be debilitating to the rule of law if department were permitted to withhold the implementation of order passed by the authority. Therefore, department were directed to comply with the order. If anything is provided in law, if you don't follow, you are not following the provisions of the Act and law and the rules of the state and company. Debilitating effect is not allowed. It says that you should issue the refund immediately. This is another case of parity solution versus Government of India, Delhi court. What? This case is a typical case. There are 2-3 issues that are involved. One of the agency, the third agency is involved on the respondent case on behalf of the state government, which provide the information. SCN dated 28. What is the petition claim? 28 February 22. The SCN order may be quashed. An order dated 30th March 22 under Section 74 of CGST may be quashed. Department of Trade and Taxes Policy Branch or Government of Delhi. He is having no authority as compared to a steward department. They are just merely providing the information agency. Their information can be used, but the use has to be done by the jurisdiction officer. The ITC was blocked against the Rule 86 of CGST as it has been done for more than 1 year. Order dated ITC 37 may be reversed without tangible material stipulation. This is the petition filed by the Parity Infotech. Now we are going to the fact of the case. Under Section 70, summons were issued dated 17th August 2020 with the fake invoices of Sri Aman Handa being served to Parity Infotech. That these are the 20 companies with which you have dealt, and on the basis of information available to you, you come with the books of account. And the summons was he has appeared before the summons authority, and he has informed that we have not done any transaction with the above books. Email received and ITC were blocked on portal amounting to rupees 27,88,000. They have reversed the in ITC from the cash credit ledger. The petitioner changed from different forum. SCN dated mechanism we received. Input tax was wrongly availed and utilized from the non-existent form. SCN was raised and was saying only one thing: input tax credit wrongly available utilized from the non-existent firm. The name of the firm is not given. Date on which the bill, what bill is not given. Neither the date, nor name of the firm, nor TV tax value, nor ITC, or the ISC given. SSA replied on 27th March 2022. Impugned order 27 was dated was passed by rejecting claim, and his ITC was taken away. So he is robbed of his around of his 27.88 lakh. Before coming to our before writing the summary of this judgment, we have gone through 74, 86A, 147 taxman, 201, 3 SSC 234, 3 SSC 757, 2 SSC taxman.com. Okay. The respondent blocked. Respondent means government department blocked ITC on the basis of communication received from 24th July 2022. This is some department of the government which is committee collecting the information with serial number 3 saying that your TV tax value was 1.5 crore amounting to rupees 27. Respondent has no authority to investigate the officer. Only jurisdiction officer has the power to this thing. ITC was blocked, but no information of facts was solely on the basis of instruction of the director. No tangible material, no violation. There is a violation of Rule 86A. What I was asking, the bill number, name of the party, TISNC, and on the date on which the bill is issued is not provided. This point has mechanically reproduced section 74, and without any tangible evidence. SCN was issued, but SC was very vague. ITC was kept blocked beyond a stated period of 1 year. SCN was mechanical in nature. The respondent had no independent opinion impairing the SCN. Thus, the order of High Court are as under. Blocking ITC merely on the basis of communication by other authority that same was availed through fake invoices, not sustainable when GST authority who had blocked such ITC has issued a so-called notice with appropriate information, name of the party, bill number, amount, ISTV, ISNC. No tangible material was produced before the authority. Instruction dated 38th March 2022 received from the Delhi State Department said this is declared invalid to the extent it has been directed. Issuance of so-called notice mechanically to create a demand and appropriate block ITC against 1 year has elapsed after 3 is invalid. SCN is provided as per section 74 could be issued only if proposal has formed a prima facie evidence. Before issuing authority, he should have a prima facie reason to believe, which was there in under income tax. The reason to believe as income tax is under section 187 is to be opinion should be formed before issuing SCN. When the proposal has prima facie opinion and the tax has not been paid or short paid or innocently refunded, has issued a well utilized by the reason of fraud, willful misstatement. Decision rendered interpreting expression of reason to believe in the context of 86 ITC are relevant to interpretation appearing before Rule 86A of CGST. Clear? So what I am concluding, SCN should have a reason to believe there should be some information from somewhere. And over the basis of you can use this information to collaborate with that. Without collaborating, without going any information, you cannot just go and say that, okay, we got information. This is the base. No, not like that. And reason to believe is explained. Read with section 74. So many times, if you understand this provision, many of the issues are likely to be resolved. 134 Taxman 42 LGW Industry versus Union of India. Petitioner in those writ petitions are agreed by the impugned notice issued by the respondent concerned for not allowing petitioner who are the purchaser of good in question. This is a very, very well defined judgment. It's a wonderful long case. The petitioner in those writ petition are aggrieved by the impact notice issued by the respondent for not allowing petitioner who have purchased the goods and refusing to grant benefit input tax credit on purchase from suppliers, and also asking the petitioner to pay the penalty and interest under the relevant provision of GST. Petitioner have also challenged the constitutional validity of section 16(2)(c) of CGST, which according to me does not require consideration of this case, since it appears that the provision of the relevant record that refusal to grant benefit under section ITC to the person not on the ground of non-deposit of tax in the government by the record of supply which may be collected from the petitioner under section 16(2)(c). If you look into section 16, you would have a tons of clarity. In this case, it is a case of respondent GST authorities or inquiry. They came to know what GST department is saying, that they came to the supplier from whom the petitioner or buyers are claiming to have purchased a good question are all fake and non-existing, and they don't have a bank account for those suppliers on the basis of fact documents. And petitioners' claim for the benefit of input tax credit are not supported by the relevant document. And the case of response is also petitioner have not verified the genuineness of the identity of the aforesaid supplier who are registered taxable person before entering into transaction. What they are saying, if I have to purchase and claim ITC, I should inquire whether his office is there or not, his GST registration is there or not, his bank account is there or not. Of course, I cannot go and check his bank account, but I'm paying through RTGS. If I pay through my GST, his bank account is there. Don't only have a receipt of payment. I cannot ask me who is the proprietor. But if you go to GST portal, there is a name given. We are going to the same person, same number. And when I paid the goods, I claim ITC only on the basis of 2A which is available to me. How this argument is valid? After I buy the good, after I receive the credit, and then his number is cancelled from retrospective, or when the department is visited after 2 years, he is not available, his address is not there. That is not the way we work. That is not the way I can do it. I cannot visualize post. इसके बाद क्या होगा? आज जो मैं करता हूँ, परफेक्ट करता हूँ, then it is okay. But what they're saying, let me read exactly what is written here. The question are all fake, non-existent by those suppliers. What government department by those suppliers on the basis of their fake document and petitioner claim the benefit of input credit are not supported by the relevant document. The case of the respondent is that the petitioner have not verified the genuine identity of the said supplier who are registered taxable person before entering any transaction with those suppliers. I said I have taken this care. For the grounds of denying input credit based petition with the petitioner by the respondent are the registration of supplier or the registration of for the ground of denying input tax credit benefit to the petitioner by the respondent are the registration of supplier in the question have already cancelled with retrospective covering the transaction period in question. The retrospective cancellation is done. The main contention of the petitioner in this writ petition are that the transactions in question are genuine and valid by relying upon all the supporting relevant documents required under law, and contend that petitioner with the due diligence have verified the genuineness and identity of the supplier in question, and more particularly name of the supplier, the registered taxable person, availment on the government portal showing the registration as valid and existing at the time of transaction. Petitioner that they have limitation of that part asserting the validity and genuineness of the supplier. And they have done whatever possible in this regard. More so, why? When the name of the supplier registered taxable person were already available in the government record and government portal, the relevant period of transaction could not be faltered if they appeared fake later on. When I did it, it was okay. After that, I can't do it. Petitioner further submitted that they have paid the amount of purchases in question as well as tax on the same. I paid the money to the concerned person as well as tax. The same is not in cash or transaction, where through bank, and petitioner are helpless if some point of time after the transaction or if this respondent concerned finds the inquiry that registered taxable person were fake and bogus, and the petition could not be challenged unless the department respondent established that the concrete material, that transaction in question, were the outcome of any collusion between the petitioner and purchaser and the supplier in question. So there should be some establishment of collusion between these two persons would only be allowable. Petitioner further submit that all the purchase in question invoices were available on GST portal form GST2A, which is a matter on record. Considering the facts as a record subject to further verification, cannot be said that there was any failure on the part of petitioner in compliance on any obligation required in the statute before entering into the transaction in question and for verification of the genuineness of the supplier. Hence, considering the submission of a party on perusal record available with writ petition are disposed of by remanding all the cases. Consider the afresh cases, but it is on the issue of entitlement of benefit in question, considering the documentation being the petitioner want to rely in support of the genuine in the inquiry, whether payment on purchase in question along with GST actually paid or not. To the supplier also consider whether the transaction purchase were made before or after the cancel of the registration. Also consider the statutory obligation, petition or verification of RTP. Government, Calcutta High Court says, go fresh, ask all the documents, and then come to a conclusion. If it is found upon that all purchases and register are genuine or supporting of this thing, you can do it. This is a day in, day out, this case is happening. 134 taxmen, com 42 Calcutta, LWG Industry Limited versus Union of India. This is wonderful and lengthy case. Let me finish this case. It's a wonderful and gives you tons and tons of clarity regarding the law. This is a case of ENY versus CGST in appeal. The petitioner is an ENY, is an Indian branch office of UK company. They filed a present appeal under the 15 March 22 for this order. Wasn't Kunj office. They applied to adjudicate the adjudicator authority and the tribunal is not formed. So they directly filed a case to High Court, Delhi High Court. The petitioner had appealed against the impact order in original passed by the adjudicator authority being agreed with the rejection of the refund application for the input tax credit in respect of export service for the period of December 17 to March 20. The AA has denied the said application for refund of ITC on the premise that the petitioner is an intermediary. So here there are two things: intermediary definition, place of service definition, and export of service definition. These three are the pillars of this judgment. If you understand, whenever this case happens, these three sections would apply, case would be over. Now here I am not giving the judgment of the case. How you can build a case on your own, that is also explained here. The petitioner has statutory right to appeal the decision of AA before the GST under section 112 of the GST Act. However, the said remedy is allowable as the preferred appeal under tribunal. The petitioner is an Indian branch office in EY, UK. The petitioner established as a branch as per RBI. Prior to enactment of this this was registered under the service tax regime with registered central access department as provisions for management and business tax consultant, rent scheme operator, manpower recruitment, supply agency, and legal consultancy for the purpose. EN was limited as entering into service agreement for professional consultancy in various entities called ENY Group, ENY US, EY Australia, EY New Zealand, EY UK. So there are different countries in which they have made an agreement. In terms of the aforesaid service agreement, the overseas entity had retained EY Limited acting through Indian branch to provide certain professional services. ENY to ENY, UK, USA, this thing. There were different agreement which is available to this. What are the kind of agreement? What are the service they are provided? Is also I have polluted because this case you can use it at somewhere else also. On ENY wishes to retain ENY Limited acting through its Indian branch to provide professional services in India, as may be agreed from time to time by different parties. The services which were provided by ENY India to ENY UK is assurance and business services. Technical assistance and advice in relation to ex party expatriate tax compliance services under the tax law in the United States, including technical review and approval of US income tax return and other related work contract and knowledge transfer agreement engagement of specific matters. Technical assistance advice in relation to business tax compliance, advice and technical assistance with respect to US audit process. So these are the kind of simple services which is envisaged, including others. These are the this is a contract. Now, what are the contract? This contract number also produced before that. ENY shall provide service in accordance with all applicable professional standards as well as the requirement imposed upon the firms as by ENY Global. ENY shall pay to at arm's length price. ENY can terminate the contract any time, except to the extent otherwise provided. ENY US shall own all the rights, title, and interest, and to all the data, report, framework, specifications. So what they're saying, the document which are collected by ENY India, these are the document would remain the property of ENY unless the law otherwise provide. What are the title and interest? Because once you provide the data abroad, a company like Google, there would be tons of data would be available for coming to a conclusion or providing the services. So data would be there, report would be there, framework, specification, design model, analysis, invention, programs, and other property and materials. It is not disputed that this title would remain to the EY USA, except which are except to the extent otherwise required by applicable professional standard. EY US shall own all the rights, title, and interest, and all the data, report, framework, specific design models. It is not disputed the agreement also provides service of each entities as well as the adjudicator authority referred the definition. These are the framework in which what are the works which are provided, which I have concluded. Now I am coming to the A. Refer to the definition of intermediary in the section under Rule 213 of IGST said, I find that any party is an intermediary of EY. Now I am giving you a contextual discussion later on. I am giving you a intermediate definition specifically with proper explanation to come. Adjudication authority. What A says, why it is liable for tax. Adjudicator refer to the definition intermediary under section 213 of legislation. I find that the party is an intermediary of EY, UK and EY UK, other overseas direct client. The party provides services on behalf of UK, Indian overseas client. Hence, the claim of A was rejected. They consider it as an intermediary services. How the court conclude that it is an export of services, not an intermediary services. I explained how it is considered as not intermediary and export of services, and how the section is there, which I have explained here. Because I want that you can use simple section to come to a conclusion in this matter, which is billions and billions of rupees. You don't need to be a very logistic or big lawyer. Just simple. The petitioner has also relied upon the order under dated 8th May 2018 passed by the Service Authority. What the petitioner explained to the High Court that we have relied upon 8th May 2018, the order passed by Services Authority in the context of export of services under Finance Act 984, whereby it was held that petitioner is not an intermediary. Petitioner submitted that the concept of intermediary under Finance Act and the rules made thereunder are the same as the concept of GST. However, the AA did not accept the contention and proceeded on the basis of claim required to be addressed IGST and rules, and therefore its contention was not an intermediary. They come to a different conclusion at the Executive Authority. Now, what they are saying further, considerably, the service rendered by the petitioner, whoever entity prior to rollout of IGST, was considered as an export of services. Prior to rollout of GST, was considered as export service. The petitioner said on the basis of that he was given a refund. The petitioner prevailed before the concerned service authority in establishing that the professor is rendered by cannot be considered as intermediary. It is also material to note that petitioner's application for the period after March 20 was also accepted by the AA. Thus, it is denied from December 70 to March 20. It is allowed. It has been allowed under Senbet for the period regime before March 20. What says? I had been not granted this ITC from December to March 20. Now I am giving you an intermediate. Now I'm reading in the context of EY India versus EY Global. Intermediary as per section 213 of IGST Act means a broker. ENY is a broker of ENY Global? No. He is an agent? No. He is, or any other person by whatever name called. So these three agencies needs to be read together. He is neither a broker nor an agent or any other person. Any other person in context of broker or agent by whatever name called, who arranges or facilitates the supply of goods and services for both. As what activity agent or broker does? Facilitate the supply of goods, services or both. So he would not, even ENY UK does not perform supply of goods service, only supply facilitate. He does not arrange. He has his own staff. He is working under that. He is a professional organization. He works under ALP. So he doesn't arrange between two or more persons, that is E and EY, but does not include. Now, what they say, these are that was now, but does not include. This would be carved out. A person who supplies such goods or services. ENY supplies services or both are secured on his own account. ENY provides service on his own account, not on the provider of other person. This is the ground on which it cannot be considered. It cannot be ENY. It cannot be considered as an intermediary of EY Global. Now, a plain reading of the forest definitely make it completely clear that merely arrange the facility supply of goods. These are explained, so I'm not going into this now. Thus, it is obvious that a person who supplies goods or services are not intermediary. The service that provided by the intermediary only related to arranging the facility supply of goods and services for the supply. In the present case, there is no dispute that a petitioner does not arrange or facilitate the services to EY and it is third party, it renders the service. The petitioner has not arranged the said supply from any third party. Thus, EY and EY Global is not an intermediary. The same arrangement from EY Global to this thing. Now, I am going into export services, then I go to another section. Is it liable under ENY export service? The supplier of service is located in India. Yes. The recipient of service is located outside GK services. Yes. The place of service outside India. Yes. The payment for such services will be received by the supplier of service in convertible foreign exchange currency. Yes. The supplier of service and the recipient of service not merely established or distinct person in accordance with explanation 1 and 2. Even though these both are same entity, it is same entity, still this section would have. Now, how they are considering to intermediary, that is also covered. There is a definition under section 30. Section 13 determines the recipients of services and supplier of services for the provision who are working outside. This is for that. The provision they shall apply to determine the place of services where the location of supplier or services, location of supplier or services, location of recipient. Supplier kya hai? Where is the supplier? Where is the recipient? This section provides, unless otherwise provided in section 3 to 13, then it should be assumed that the recipient of the services would be the place of a location of service, and it would be considered as deemed export, except 2 to 13. I have not covered, otherwise this thing, these also I want to cover. But the person who is supporting me to prepare the site say no, sorry, it would become too lengthy. But for the purpose of this section 8, I have considered the place of service except service shall be the location of receiving service, except 3 to 13, which I have got. In the present case, there is no dispute that section 3 is not attracted. Now I am going specifically to section 18, section 8. The place of supply of the foreign shall be the location of service, namely, this section they consider intermediary as that section. The intermediary is defined under section 13.8, and on the basis of 13.8 would be it is applied to India. But the High Court says no, it is not falling under intermediary, it is falling under export of services. Hence, ITC would be available. Conclusion. In the present case, the place of supply of the following service will be location of service of namely the service supplied by the banking company or financial institution. The place of the service, location of service, namely services supplied by banking or financial institution company. The place of supply for this shall be deemed to be the place, shall be the location of supply of service. Banking company, suppose I am a banking company providing services to in USA. The place of supply would be in India, not the recipient. This is for banking company, financial institution, into a service consisting of hiring means of transport. I am transporting goods from India and person of recipient in outside India, but still it will be considered as supply of service in India, including yacht, but excluding aircraft and vessels. Aircraft is where the person reaches. Would be that. Account means this, these are the definition. In terms of section 8, section 13, the place of supply service would be the location of service. In terms of B subsection 8 of section 13, the place of intermediate location of supply. The place of supply of service has been held to be in India on the basis of that petitioner is providing intermediate services. As discussed before, the services rendered by petitioner are not intermediary, and therefore the place of service rendered by the overseas entity is required to be determined on the basis of location of receiving services. Since the recipient of UK services is outside India, the professional services rendered by the petitioner would fall within the scope of export of services defined under section 2.6. There is no dispute that the recipient of service, that is US EY entity, are located outside India. Thus, indisputably, the services provided by the petitioner would fall within the scope of this export of services under section 2.6. With this, I'm concluding. We would, because it is already 8:45. I've covered 1 hour discussion. This would be available on blog, which you can use it later on. This recording would be there. I'll be continuing with so many slides, 100 this thing. So we'll be continuing with this. Okay, I am just saying thank you very much for listening to this talk. And I would share with this on a blog. Thank you very much. End of this thing. We would again meet on 10th, same place.